Hey guys, if you tried to join our virtual lesson today, I apologize for the technical difficulties and thank you for trying to be there and participate in that. I'm going to do a video recording right now of these two questions, and hopefully that's helpful to you. These are questions 5 and 6, which correspond to the two part writings that you'll do on this year's AP test from last year. So these were on last year's 2019 AP test. So you can pause the video and fill in the prompt for each of these if you haven't printed it out. So here's question 5. And then here is question 6. Okay. And we will go in that order today. We'll start with the more difficult one, question 5. Thought we'd do that today instead of starting with the easier one and finishing with a really difficult one. So we're in G minor. It tells you right here. You don't even have to do that much work. It'll always tell you what key it's in. And I'm going to fill in my chord matrix for all the chords we might need in this key. So just use the alphabet and use the key signature, B flat and E flat, C, D, E flat. And then from my chord matrix, I have this little reminder to raise the leading tone. And then to spell a one chord, G, A, B flat, C, D. And then do the same thing. E flat, F, I have the reminder there to raise that note. D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat, C, sharp A, C, E flat. And the sevenths of those three chords, you can of course count up in thirds, but it's also the same note as that. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to move that note up to there. I'm going to move that note up to there. And those are all of the chords that we might use in this example. Okay, so I'm going to use that to help us fill in our Roman numerals here, and then after that we'll use it to put in our chord tone choices. Okay, so nothing means no inversion symbols or figured bass mean root position, so it's a G chord, so it's a G minor chord, it's a 1 chord. Okay, now 6-4-3, that is obviously a 4-note chord because there are 3 notes above the bass. And the 6 that you see right here, that slash mark, means a sharp 6. It was just a shorthand version from Bach's time when they needed to raise a note in the figured bass, they put a slash through it instead of just one marking instead of 4. That doesn't mean to omit that note or anything like that. So a 6-4-3 is a 4-3 inversion, so that's second inversion. So it's 4-3 and A is in the bass, so go from here to there. Oh, okay, it's a 5-7 chord because we already figured out that it's a 4-note chord. So we'll put 5-7. Okay, and the next one is B flat is in the bass. It's first inversion, so you can kind of count down a third and see that's a G chord, or you can use the chart. It's 6. B flat is in the bass, so it is a 1 chord again. Okay, 6-5, first inversion. F sharp is in the bass. You can use this chart if you want, or just know that that's a 7th chord, and it's a 5-7. So these first 3 chords are just going back and forth between 1 and 5-7. We have another 1 chord here, and then a first inversion right here. That is E flat in the bass, so it is a 4 chord. Minor 4, of course. They actually, hopefully this goes away, but they actually don't count off, hopefully from my point of view, maybe not yours, they don't count off if you get the case wrong, because there are some really old textbooks still in use that use all uppercase Roman numerals. So as long as you get the case right, then you'll get it right. But to help you, you need to make sure uppercase, lowercase is correct. And this last one, this 4 to a sharp by itself, or any accidental by itself in the figure bass, always is talking about a third above the bass. It's just another shortcut that they would use. So this is a root position chord, so it's a D chord, which is 5 in this key. And that means one of those voices is going to go from 4 above the bass to a raised 3, so G to an F sharp in this case. So let's go ahead and put in our chord tone choices below. G, B flat, D, 5/7, D, F sharp, A, C, 1 again, 5/7 again. You guessed it. 1 again. Now 4, minor 4, C, E flat, G, and 5. It's not 5/7, it's just 5. And so this is going to be D. And then I would put F sharp, but you see 4 to sharp 3, so I'm going to reflect that here. G to F sharp, and then A. Okay? And I think we're through with this for now. So once you get your chord tones in there, you're through with your matrix. Okay, and we will, first thing, let's go ahead. I want to do 2 things. I want to indicate the motion of my tendency tones, and I want to circle the bass notes so we know we've got those counted for. So we'll start with the bass notes. G, A, B flat, F sharp, G, E flat, D. So we know we got our bass notes accounted for there. And then I want to look for my 5 chord to 5/7 chords. The 7ths need to resolve downward. And then the 3rd of the chord, which is the leading tone, need to resolve upward. It's a down arrow, but it's going right up from F sharp to G. Same thing here. F sharp is resolving up to G. That C is going to resolve to B flat. Okay. And this is a special kind of cadence. You don't need to know this, so skip ahead 10 seconds if you like, but it's a Phrygian half cadence where it goes minor 4, 6 to 5. And that's where you have le, so, in the bass, like that. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and write our soprano line, and then we will write the middle voices after that. Soprano line, we like to go contrary motion as much as possible, but this 4-note chord is going to kind of limit our choices with that because there won't be a doubling. So if we want contrary motion, we go to A, but A is already accounted for, and we need all 4 voices to sing a different note. So we'll go parallel motion here, and they're in thirds, B flat or G up to B flat, those are in thirds, so that's fine. Okay, B flat, C, and then we could go contrary motion here, but then we're doubling the 3rd of the chord. We've already picked our doubling, so let's just try to keep going parallel motion if we need to change it. So we're in parallel thirds, and we like parallel thirds, nothing wrong with that. Okay, and when we can stay on the same note, we just will. That's fine. No reason not to. There. Yeah, you don't need to go contrary motion here because you'd have to go up to F sharp, and we can't double any of these notes because this is a 4-note chord also. So we'll just stay on that note, and we'll stay on it again. We'll see if that works. We might have to change it. We'll see. And then we have a C, E flat, G. We got E flat in the bass already. So if we went contrary motion, we'd be doubling the 3rd. So let's just go similar motion. This isn't parallel motion because this is down a step and this is down a 3rd. But so there's no, even though this was a 5th, there's no parallel 5ths there because this interval is a 6th. Okay. And then this next one, let's go contrary motion here. Let's see if that works. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mark the notes that we selected. D, 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 C, and then we picked our doubling for this last note, but we'll see if it works out. I bet it will. This voice could go to A if it had to, but I think the contrary motion is nice. Okay. All right, let's start in on our middle voices, D and F sharp. Okay. Obviously, we'll keep the D in the tenor, and then F sharp here. Make sure you put the sharp sign there. If you forget that, you'll miss that whole chord. Okay, and the next one, G, B flat, D. We got B flat in the bass. That F sharp has to go to G. And then that C needed to go to B flat, didn't it? Okay, so we're going to change that. So we doubled the third of that chord, but that's okay. So we got B flat, G, B flat, and then the D will be right there. Okay, and that's just fine. Make sure you erase it really well so that when you take a picture of it and upload it, that it's really clear. It's a little different than usual, right? Or to look at the actual thing that you wrote on. Okay, and then this next chord, we've got D and F sharp already. So let's see if we can get A and C. Looks pretty good. We've got A here and C here. Okay, and the next one, we've got G and D already. We need someone on B flat. And then maybe someone on G if we're going to pick, it's nice strong doubling there. So we need someone on B flat. Either one could go to B flat, right? This one could go to B flat. This one could go to B flat, right? So maybe pick which voice could go to G better. And I think that's the alto. And the B flat will be there. Yeah, so this voice, the alto, could have gone to B flat or G, so I didn't want to pick from that one. Go to the other one. The tenor, B flat or G. Oh, that's obvious. Obviously, this one needs to be B flat. Okay, well, that needs to be G. Okay, so that worked out well. Then C, E flat, G here. We've got a C and an E flat. So maybe a G and then maybe double the C if we can. Hey, we got a G already. And then we'll put C there. Okay, this is looking good. This last one, whoever was on G needs to stay. Because whenever you have this 4-3, that almost always means someone was on that same note before and they hold it across and then resolve downwards. Because that non-chord tone, that 4, kind of belongs to the previous chord, holds on too long, and then resolves. So you find out who had that G, and they have to stay on it. Okay. So for ours, it was the alto. Okay, so we've got that one, and we need someone on A. And that works just fine. If I wanted to, I was going to say that I could triple the root, but then I'd write parallel octaves if I want C to D, C to D. So no reason to do that. Okay, that looked pretty good. That one worked out pretty well. We wrote a pretty good soprano line. I made that one mistake, but I caught it where I didn't want to double the third, but following the rule of the seventh of the chord resolving downward is more important than that. The rules of the doublings, they're not really rules, they're just guidelines when you don't have any other preference on what notes need to go in the chord. If you've got all 3 notes covered and one other voice trying to decide which one you want to try to double the root of a root position or first inversion chord. And you want to double the bass note in a second inversion chord. Okay, if I wanted to, I could go through and I could check all of my motion to make sure that I don't have any parallel fifths and octaves. Let me show you how to do that. Go from chord to chord and just see what each voice is doing. So in this space between beat 1 and 2, we have up a step, same, down a step, up a step. So you check the two that are doing the same thing, the two that are up a step, the bass and soprano. They're in thirds, we already checked that. Okay, now let's go from beat 2 to beat 3. Up a step, same, up a step, down a step. So the only place there could be any illegal parallel motion would be between the bass and the alto this time, and they're in sixths. So parallel sixths, parallel thirds, we love those. Those are great. Okay, down a fourth, diminished fourth, down a step, up a third. Okay, they're all doing different stuff there, so there's no chance of any illegal motion there as far as parallel fifths and octaves go. Okay, up a step, down a step, and same. So let's check these two. They're in sixths. That's C to A, so that's just a sixth, and then of course that will be a sixth as well, B flat up to G. Okay, okay, down a third, up a step, same, down a step. So they're all doing different stuff there, so that's fine. Down a step, down a third, same, and up a step. So that one's fine. You need to check for what its eventual motion is. So this one, I guess, is down a step. And these are in thirds, an octave and a third, the bass and alto. So that all looks good. Okay, leave a comment if you have any questions on that, and I will, of course, be happy to answer it. So let's go ahead and go to question 6. Part writing from not from a given bass line, but from given Roman numerals. So we're going to fill in the top part of the page, the chord matrix for major keys. We're in A major, so put A there. And then just use the alphabet and use your keys and enter F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. So every line here should have 3 sharps. And spell a 1 chord. And if you panic, listen to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can take it from there. A, C sharp, E, G sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp. Now you don't need a fancy chart necessarily. I just made these for you guys so you'd have all the correct Roman numerals and have the inversion symbols. You could, sketch this out on a piece of paper. But since this is open note, I figure why not make something that could be helpful to you. So for the seventh of these chords, you could just take that note, put it up there, that note, put it up there, that note, put it up there. Just a shortcut. One less thing to have to think about. Okay. Now, this is pretty easy once you got that filled in, because all we're going to do is put in our chord tone choices below each one of these chords. So 1 chord, A, C sharp, E. 5, 7, that's a 4-note chord, of course. E, G sharp, B, D, 6, F sharp, A, C sharp. So I see some deceptive motion there. Watch out for parallel motion. Make sure that all the voices don't just go up a step. Okay, I'm going to skip the secondary dominant for a second. Go to the 2 chord. So the 2, 6 is, it's not a 2, 7, right? It's just a 3-note chord, it's just in first inversion. So B, D, F sharp. Okay, now I would just skip it because it shows you what the 5th of that is. So 5 of 2 is built on F sharp. That's the root 3rd, 5th, right? So I'm going to put F sharp here, F sharp, and then spell a major triad, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. FAC is major, so that means that F sharp, A sharp, C sharp is major. And then It is a 7th chord. If I forget, I can look over here. Hey, 4-2, that's a 7th chord. And it's in root position, 1st, 2nd, 3rd inversion, right? Okay, so the minor 7th is going to be an E, okay? And then we'll keep going. 5, just a 5, not a 5-7. E, G sharp, B, and then a plain old 1 chord at the end. And once I've got my chord tone choices in there, I'm through with that. I'm going to put it off to the side. Okay, let's go ahead and let's circle the bass notes first, then we'll draw them in. Okay, root position. Even when these are inverted, I still write them in root position. That helps me find the bass note really easily. Root position. This is 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 2, 3rd inversion. You can think of those as like a phone number. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 2. That's all of the inversions symbols for 7th chords. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 2. If that's helpful. You can sing it to 8, 6, 7, 5, 3, 0, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 2, whatever helps you. Okay. And, okay, moving on. 1st inversion. So that will be a D bass note. E. Hey, those are all root positions. So just a couple chords and inversion in there. Okay, here we go. And just incidentally, a 5-4-2 always has to go to a 1-6. In this case, it's 5-4-2 of 2, going to a 2-6. But since the 7th of the chord is in the bass and it has to resolve downward, it has to go to that chord. That's very common. Okay, I'm gonna before we do that, I'm gonna draw in the motion of our tendency tone. 7th of a dominant chord needs to resolve downward. A 3rd of a dominant chord needs to resolve upward. Okay, so sharp has to resolve there. Okay, let's draw in that bass line. Sometimes you'll have some choices on which octave to use. And my recommendation is always get that bass line as far away from the tenor as you can. Because it's allowed to be, up to 2 octaves apart, and that's totally fine. You can run into issues if you have the bass line too high. Let me show you. Let's say for this last one, we wanted to make the bass line finish on the same note it started on. Okay, and we wanted to use that A. That would mean that in this chord, the tenor could not sing that G sharp. I drew that A wrong, sorry. Okay, the tenor could not sing that G sharp because that would be voices overlapping there between those chords. But he could sing that note. If the bass went down to that A, that would be fine. Now, I don't think the tenor is going to meander all the way from this high E down to this lower G sharp here. Hopefully not. But that's just an example. It's just good to keep those parts about as, the bass and tenor, these two only as far apart as you can when you have those choices of what octave to go to. Okay, here we go. Try to write contrary motion. So we're going to go down here. So let's go up to D. We can't go up to E because this is a 4-note chord and we can't double anything. Okay, and then we'll go that D has to go to C sharp. Okay, and then we'll stay on C sharp there, and then that's a step down to D. And if we make a step up to D, it's not a very strong doubling. So let's go ahead and why don't we go all the way up to that F sharp right there. That's fine. And then F sharp, we can go to E. That's a doubling, but it's a nice strong one. It's the root of the chord. and then we'll stay on E. Okay. Now I've done this before. Done this example before, and I know it's not going to work, but that might be that would be an okay soprano line to write. But sometimes it just doesn't work out, and you have to change it. So let me show you an example of that. Okay. So we've got that first chord done for us, and so in this chord we need G sharp and B. Now obviously G sharp is better here, because this voice could go up to G sharp, but then it's going to have to go even higher in the next chord up to A, and it's just getting really high for the tenor. So this works better here. Okay, that will mean that this guy is singing B. But look, we've got a fifth here and a fifth there. And so we have parallel fifths. So that won't work. So what can we do? So we can't change the bass. And with that soprano note, this is the only two choices. We can't really flip them very easily because then the tenor will end up being too high. So we have to change the soprano note. So let's write a B here. Okay? And we'll let the tenor sing D. And then what's left? The G sharp. Okay? So that works pretty good. Let's go to the next one. F, A, C sharp. So we've got up a step there. But look what happened when we changed that note. Now we have parallel fifths between the bass and the soprano. So let's rewrite that note and use a contrary motion. And since we've had to rewrite these notes, instead of kind of going up higher, they're lower. Let's just rewrite, say like, hey, this isn't working. Let's just rewrite the rest of this really quickly. Just a few notes. So A here will go to A sharp there. And then that A sharp has to go to B. We'll stay on B. And you can go to C sharp or A at the end, however you like. It doesn't matter. I'm actually going to save that one for the end just to show you something. Now let's go ahead and pick one. Let's go ahead and pick A. Okay. All right. And so let's see if this works better. Hopefully it will. Okay, so we've got F sharp and A here. Who's going to sing C sharp? Obviously, looks like it's going to be the tenor there. And so we've got all three of our notes. Let's double the F sharp. Sometimes in the 5 to 6, you need to double the third on the second chord on the 6, just depending on how the upper three voices are arranged. But it looks like here we wrote some parallel fourths, which is okay. If those had been flipped the other way around, then we would have written parallel fifths, but it looks like it's okay. Okay, and let's go on to the next one. F sharp, A. We've got A sharp already, so we need C sharp and F sharp. Hey, you know what? We're already on them. That's great. Okay, and this next one we've got B and D, so we need F sharp. Obviously, alto is going to sing F sharp. We've got all three notes now. What are we going to double? Let's try to double the B. Looks good. Then E, G sharp, B. We've got E and B. Who's going to sing G sharp? Okay, and that's the alto. So we've got E, G sharp. We've got everyone. Can we double the E? I think we can. You could stay on B, but you're probably going to end up writing parallel octaves. I guess you could go B to C sharp there, but let's just skip to E. Write the best chord we can right here. And then, now we've got this G sharp has to go to A. Okay? So now I've got 3 A's and then C sharp or E for that voice. That's really not a problem actually, because you can, at a cadence only, you can triple the root of the chord. So you can have 3 people singing the root of the chord, but you have to include the third of the chord. I couldn't keep this. And maybe other kinds of music you could, but not for what they're asking you to do following 18th century voice leading procedures. You have to have the third of the chord. So at a cadence, you can omit the fifth of the chord and triple the root. That's okay. So you could write that, and that would be fine. And so I wanted to show you, on a cadence, if you have the melody go re, do, this is how you have to write it, because so will go to do, ti has to go to do. If you make re go to do, then you're tripling the root, which is fine, but just be aware that that's going to happen, and that's okay. So that's why I think sometimes it's nice to go re to mi there, because then he can stay on his note, and you've got doubling, and you've got all 3 chord tones in there. Now it's an imperfect authentic cadence, but that doesn't mean, just because it's imperfect doesn't mean it's bad. It's not a very good name for it. It's just it's just a different type of cadence, a little weaker cadence. Maybe a stronger one follows it. So this one is another perfect answer. And if you wrote a different soprano line, you come up with different answers. But we tried a different soprano line, and we realized, hey, this just isn't working to go from C sharp to D. It created a problem, and then we tried to fix it, it created another problem. So we just scrapped it and said, hey, let's make it go the other way. And that ended up working out very well. So we can check our motion here. Down a fourth, down a step, down a step, down a step. Lots of things to check. E up to A is a fourth, so those are parallel fourths between those 2 voices. That's okay. E up to C sharp, that's a sixth, so that's parallel sixth. Hey, that's fine too. And then obviously we have parallel thirds between these 2 voices. So that worked out okay, actually. Even though we had 4 voices and they're all stepping down, it actually worked out. Okay, let's check here. Up a step, down a step, down a step, down a step. And whenever you have 5 to 6, that's really what you want it to look like. One voice going up and the rest of them going down. So let's check these 3 that are all going down a step. Here, it's a fourth again. D up to G sharp. So we have parallel fourths here, so that's fine. And then D up to B is sixths. And then we have parallel thirds here. So no parallel fifths or octaves, so that worked out good. These 2 down a step, same, and then same with F sharp. So that one's fine. Down a step, same, up a step. Let's check the 2 to the same. Down a step, they're both, they're sixths, so that's fine. Up a step, up a fourth, up a step, same. So the 2 that are up a step, they're a third apart, D and F sharp, or E and G sharp, third apart, okay? Down a fourth, same, up a step, up a step. So the 2 that are up a step are thirds, obviously. So no issues with that. So that's another answer that will get you the maximum amount of points for that. So if you have a question on either of these part writing examples, please leave a comment and I'll be happy to answer it.